everybody. We are back. Welcome to season 2 of the Yinzhers podcast on the DK Pittsburgh Sports podcast network. My God, that is a tongue twister. But officially season 2, we're back from summer break, and we're ready. I feel like a noob.
Yeah.
I feel like we're still we're trying to get our bearings again because it's been a minute since I've been here with you guys. By the way, I'm your host, Morgan Urtso. These are my co-hosts, Jordan DeFigio, Samantha James, the inimitable, my favorite people in the entire world. So let's jump in. Guys, how was your weekend? How was your summer break? Talk to me about what you did this weekend, Jordan.
Well, I worked. I did a lot of work. I went to see a show in Pittsburgh on Saturday night. That was a lot of fun. It felt like, I'm not going to get into crazy detail. Nothing all that spectacular happened. I watched the Backyard Brawl on Thursday, but it felt like one of those significant moments in life where you're like, nothing really monumental went down, but this still feels like a pivot point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still confused by all of it and processing it, but it was a good weekend. I think I needed it. But nothing crazy, just typical. But summer was good. I traveled a lot. I feel like things with my family and personal life kind of stabilized a bit, so that's good, I guess. Nothing, can't complain about that. But otherwise, just waiting for sports. Because the Pirates suck.
Story of our lives. It's that part of the year where it's like only baseball, and you're like, I
cannot survive on Pirates for months at a time. It's just not, the fact that they ask us to do that is just,
it's rude. It's cruel and unusual punishment. Honestly, it's one of the 7 layers of hell. I truly believe that. We're time of year is just like prepping the people who are going to hell. Like, this is what, get ready. This is it.
Yeah, because this is what you have to look forward to.
Sam, what about you? How was your weekend?
Let's see. My niece had her second birthday party, so we did that. And then other than that, I just stayed at home and hung out by the pool and took 50 pictures of my dog, as you guys saw.
Lilo killed me this weekend. If you guys don't know, Lilo is one of Sam's 2 French bulldogs. She's insane. She's crazy. There's Lilo and there's Ragnar. And if you haven't seen the videos that Sam posts of Lilo and Ragnar, my God, you are missing out.
Iconic. They are iconic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like legendary. My weekend, if you can't tell, my voice is almost gone. And that's because I was at LSU FSU. And
that game.
College football is back with a vengeance. Listen, New Orleans was a shit show. When is it not in New Orleans? But it's hot, it's humid. Everyone's out just like hammered, plastered in the streets of New Orleans. And then you go into this game and like, I'm not a college football person. I haven't been since like the old Backyard Brawl because I'm a West Virginia fan. Like, that's neither here nor there. We're not going to do that. But this game, y'all, that was so crazy because LSU, that final drive was like a thing of beauty, right? Like you think they're going to come back. You think they're going to, at least tie it up, right? I swear, Jared and I sat there with our 2 friends and just stared into the abyss of what was the field after that pathetic missed PAT. Like, I have never in my life experienced an atmosphere like that. The Superdome was, it was like radioactive. Like, no one wanted to go anywhere or move. Everyone was just like frozen in time. So, college football, back with a vengeance.
It is.
A little bit hungover today. I'm not going to lie. I'm supposed to be doing 75 hard, but I was like, you know what? I can't be here sober. Like, I'm not going to be
not today.
Go to a game light and not drink.
Exactly. I'm not going to be in 99% humidity with all these strangers pushing their way past me in the streets of New Orleans. Sober. I'm not doing it. I may or may not have pants on right now. It's fine. That's
fine.
where we're
It's
at.
fine.
So anyway, now that we're caught up on our personal lives, let's jump into some Steelers stuff. First thing I want to talk about today, guys, Steelers announced their 2022 captains. There are 5 of them. 5. Mitchell Trubisky, Najee Harris, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, of course, and Miles Killebrew, the special teams freak. Let's talk about it. 5, how do we feel about this? By the way, Trubisky is the first-year Steeler to be a captain since the merger in 1970, which is, I think that says a lot. I think it says a lot about what the guys think of him. But what are y'all's thoughts?
I'm not bothered by the fact that there are 5 of them. Like, I don't think that that's something that necessarily matters if they want representation from all places of the field. And obviously, like, Najee is just, he's so himself that I just feel like the fact that he's already a captain, he cemented his place on this team as somebody who, his work ethic and the way that he handles himself talking to the media and the press, like, he's just so classy. Feels like such a shallow word to describe it, but he's just so wholesome and lovely as a person, and he's a dog on the field. Like, he's just unreal. And like, Mitch being named the captain, like that, what I found strange was that they announced the captains before the depth chart. That was what was odd to me. Not necessarily that there were 5 or that Mitch was captain. Like, he's a veteran player. He's the quarterback. He's the starting quarterback. And he has really come into and onto this roster in a way. He just has carried himself with poise, and there didn't seem fazed at all by all of the talk. Is Kenny going to be the starter? Is it going to be Mitch? Kenny should be the starter. Screw Mitch. Like, he took it all in stride and handled it really well. And so for me, it was just the timing of it was bizarre, but even that didn't bother me. I was like, okay, well, if that's how they're going to do it, then that's how they're going to do it. But I think that these are great choices. Obviously, TJ, Cam, Miles Killebrew has been around for what seems like a century, and he's a staple of the team. So I think they're great choices. I'm happy with it, and I think that they're the best guys to kind of take the reins and lead the team going into the season.
Sam, any immediate takeaways?
I think that, Jordan has a point. That's how special Najee Harris is that he's already a captain.
Year 2. Jumped right in.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had a fantasy draft last night, and somebody didn't really know who he was still. And I was like, have you seen the quads on this man? Like, one quad is bigger than my head. And I like pulled up a picture from his college from a college photo, and they were like, oh my God, like, you're not kidding. I was like, no, I'm not kidding. Like, quad monster. Like,
unreal.
Unreal.
Najee quad monster.
So respectable. Like, we should make that a shirt. But
quad monster.
Quad monster. Like, he's just incredible. But I like that there's 2 from offense, 2 from defense, and then 1 from special teams. Like, they're all represented, and they're all such respectable guys.
I totally agree, and I feel like the choice to do 5, I don't really know what the reasoning is behind it, but it does feel like kind of a good way to transition from the age of Ben Roethlisberger being the captain, the captain. And if you're going to have 2 on offense, 2 on defense, TJ is the obvious choice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who else is it going to be? Maybe Minka. But I just feel like we're in this kind of transitional phase, and choosing 5 as opposed to 3 just makes a lot of sense. What's interesting to me is the switch from Derek Watt to Miles Killebrew. I'm struggling to find Derek Watt's role on this team, especially with Connor Hayward coming in. I'm not seeing his place super clearly. Not that he had a super clear, evident place before now, because we're not really using him to his potential anyway. But we can get into that later, because I'm sure it will be discussed throughout the season. Because speaking of the depth chart, the Steelers quarterback depth chart came out with the rest of the team. Mitch Mason, Kenny, in that order.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised that it was Mitch, and were you surprised that Kenny was 2 as opposed, or was 3 as opposed to 2? Sam, let's start with you.
No. Did I want it to be Mitch, then Kenny, and then Mason? Obviously, yes. But I'm not surprised just because Kenny's still a rookie. This is still his first year. Even though Mason has concrete for feet and we've seen everything that, he has to offer, in my opinion, I still think that they're going to try to give Mason the ball second if they can save Kenny.
Yeah, Jordan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I saw it. I saw Brooke Pryor's tweet first, and I was reading it and scouring over it and thinking like, what the fuck? Okay, Mason second, but that like I was in the car with my mom and I spoke it out loud and then I tweeted about it and then I was like, hold up, wait a minute, okay. So think about it logically, because then she asked me, is that good or is that bad? And then as I started to use my rational brain, I thought, that makes sense, actually, because if Mitch does go down mid-game, it makes kind of more sense to throw Mason in to the fold in the middle of a game than it would to just toss Kenny into the fire, because and everybody on Twitter is just losing their ever-loving minds, like they always do.
But we knew that was coming.
Meltdown.
Like,
we knew it was coming, and we and everybody wants to say, I knew it. Okay, we did, yeah, we knew it, but we also know that Kenny's the future.
Right.
He is the future franchise quarterback. Hopefully, that's their goal, is to eventually move him into that role. Why would you want to just if something bad happens to Mitch? Hopefully it doesn't. Why would you want his first experience in the game to be like, all right, well then just go, up to you. Let Mason be the kind of the bridge, because it's not like this depth chart is etched in stone like the freaking 10 Commandments.
Right.
It can be changed. And if something goes down where Mitch is unable to finish out the season, I would imagine Kenny is going to be the guy that they turn to eventually, just not mid-game. So it made sense to me because Mason does have more experience. The emotional side of me, I want to see Kenny Pickett play football as soon as possible. But I also know that it makes more sense for Mitch to start. And I'm not upset about it. I think he's going to be way more exciting under center than Ben was in his last couple of years, because he has more mobility and he can throw it further. It just,
what we saw in preseason alone, Mitch is exciting. I'm excited that it's Mitch. I get it. I get people love Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. I get it. I 100% get it. I'm excited about Mitch, and that's for several reasons. Number one, what we saw in preseason, the mobility, y'all, the scoring on the first drive. I haven't felt that emotion in so long, and it was the opposite of PTSD. It was like, this is such a wonderful feeling that I haven't felt in so long. Yes. And I remember what this feels like, but I couldn't, it wasn't tangible for me anymore, but now it is. And it's such a good feeling. But, another reason that I really, really like Mitch starting off is, number one, he has the experience. Number two, you cannot look at a guy who was drafted into Matt Nagy's offense and expect Matt Nagy to get him to his optimal potential.
Oh, so Matt Nagy sucks so bad.
I've seen so many people calling Mitch a bust, and I think that is a crock of shit because he was playing for Matt Nagy. Come on. I think it's unfair. You're not putting him with Mike Tomlin to start his career. You put him with Matt Nagy, and we saw what Matt Nagy did with Justin Fields, who Justin Fields looks amazing this year so far in preseason. And so that's number one. But number two, Levi Wallace said one of the reasons he picked Pittsburgh out of all the teams who were courting him in the offseason is because of Mitchell Trubisky. He said, I saw him in Buffalo. They spent the last year in Buffalo together. I've seen him take reps. I've seen what he looks like in an offense, and I trust it and I like it. And he's one of the reasons I'm here, because I know he's a winner. And I trust Levi's opinion of that because he's a pro. He's seen Mitch for the past year and he knows exactly what he's dealing with.
Right.
Also, on the flip side of that, we're not going to throw Kenny Pickett behind this offensive line, and you guys need to get over it. Everyone needs to get over it. It's for the betterment of Kenny in the long run.
Right.
I think that once this offense and what's the offensive line has a few weeks to gel and really, really, really get used to playing with each other and with this new quarterback situation, they'll start getting a lot better. They're all super young with the exception of Mason Cole and Daniels, but like give them some time to gel.
Around.
Exactly. Yeah. Still moving pieces around. That's such a good point. So until we have a little bit of stability there and we've seen some upside in some of these guys, especially at that left tackle position, I don't want Kenny Pickett playing. I don't want him going out there tearing an ACL, breaking an ankle, or worse. His rookie, exactly.
Yeah.
We saw what happened to Joe Burrow behind that trash offensive line. There's a reason the Bengals invested in that offensive line this offseason because Joe Burrow is too good to risk. Kenny Pickett is too good to risk. I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow, but he could very well be Joe Burrow, but he's not going to be Joe Burrow behind this offensive line. So, patience.
And the Steelers aren't winning the Super Bowl this year. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. This is not a Super Bowl.
I'm signing off. You know,
as much as I want to believe that, they're just not. I mean, barring a miracle of God himself.
Sam's got a magic trick for you.
Oh, my God. I queued you up for that one really, really nicely.
You did.
Yeah. But, let this team be what it is and have fun watching football. Coming out of last offseason, I was like, they may not even make it to 500. I had such low expectations for this team, but now I'm like, they might actually be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I really hope they prove me wrong and they win the Super Bowl because obviously I want them to fucking win the Super Bowl every year. That's what I want from them.
Yeah.
But do I anticipate that? No. But I also think they're going to be a better team than they were last year.
Right. Well, beyond a shadow of a doubt, they will. There's no question in my mind that they will be better than they were last year. So at least there's that.
Yeah.
We did go to playoffs last year. So I don't know. Super Bowl's a possibility in my head. You guys know
it's always a possibility.
I'm delusional. So
yeah. But I don't know. I think Mitch is it. And
that's another reason. They probably put Mitch, Mason, Kenny because Steeler fans are not that forgiving, as it was demonstrated booing Mason Rudolph, which please be better than that. He's
so trashy.
But you throw a rookie in there under that kind of pressure and the fans see him fail, it's going to be immediately kick him to the curb. That will be the reaction. So...
Well, guys, we open this season today as we are recording. It is September 5th, aka NFL Week 1. I'm freaking out. And on Sunday, we open the season in Cincinnati, once again away. Are we shocked? No, we're not. But not only is it away, it is at the Bengals. Not only a division rival, a very good division rival, and the AFC North winners last year. Did they make it to the Super Bowl? Yeah. So what are we thinking? What are we looking for out of this Steelers team in Cincinnati on Sunday? Jordan, I want to start with you.
Oof. Well, I think that the Bengals are going to be a good team again this year, but I think there's going to be a bit of a drop-off because they are still pretty young. Yeah. And nobody was expecting them to make the Super Bowl last year. So, the Steelers might make the Super Bowl this year. So, forget what I said. But they've been on the rise for a while. Their development, their drafting, they've been on point. But I think that I just always feel like, with the exception of Tom Brady's Patriots, every team that makes the Super Bowl is typically plagued with some kind of Super Bowl hangover, whether it's beginning of the season, end of the season, I don't know. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to be watching for on Sunday, because it takes some time to get in your rhythm. The Steelers, obviously, their offense is under command, new quarterback, like new wide receivers, like George Pickens. What's he going to be like? Is Chase Claypool going to bounce back?
Mm-hmm.
Week 1 is way too early to start taking things to heart.
Yes.
So what I'm going to be paying attention to is kind of like, okay, the Matt Canada offense showed flashes of actually working in the preseason with a quarterback who can move their feet. So I'm going to be paying attention to the offense, the play calling, the game plan. Like that's what I'm going to kind of keep an eye on, because especially in the first game against the Seahawks, they were bold. They went for it.
Right.
They no holds barred. They were like, if there's a risk, we're going to take it, because why not? And I'm going to be paying attention. Yeah. Like I'm going to be paying attention to, like, is there a cohesive strategy on the offensive side of the ball? Because now you have a quarterback who can play into your system, Matt Canada. So what are you going to do with that? Is there potential? Like, I'm going to be paying attention to, is there potential for this offense to actually come together and make a name for itself in this season? And I'm also going to be paying attention to the run defense, because yikes. Oh my God, Devin Bush has just continued to struggle.
Also a starter. Was that shocking to you guys?
He's better than Robert Spillane, I guess.
Those are the only two options, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
I will be honest. I don't want to change the subject, but that was, for me, in this game, the first several games of this season, I think the thing I'm going to be paying the most attention to is that Devin Bush inside linebacker play, because personally, it's worse than the offensive line performance. It's our biggest liability by a long shot. I'm not necessarily worried this early on, like, do we have an answer for Jamar Chase? You know what I mean? Like, this early on, that's not
Probably
my focus. My focus is going to be more over, the unit play as a whole, the offensive line for sure, that inside linebacker position. I just want to see things start to fall into place, especially the things that in preseason and throughout training camp we heard were kind of up in the air. It's going to be tough against a Joe Burrow offense. At the same time, what did we do last year? We came out and beat the Bills first game of the season. So no one expected that. No one expected it. So I'm not going to write this off as a loss. But Sam, what are you looking for on Sunday?
Unfortunately, we're used to the Steelers being the underdogs lately, the last few years. Yeah. And I think when I was reading today, the Steelers or the Bengals are a 6.5 point favorite. So it is a huge, but the biggest thing I think is the offensive line, because if the Bengals defense is good, so if you can't hold the defense, we're screwed from the start. Like, it's not going to matter whether our run defense is trash or not. If the offensive line can't allow the offense to do its job.
We've seen what happens then.
Yeah.
We know. We've been here. Yeah. This feels familiar. This feels like deja vu.
The cornerback situation too, because in my opinion, that's still kind of moving in place. I don't really feel like we have a CB1. Like, it's not like, oh, Joe Hayden's out there, it's covered. It's just kind of like, we're gonna
moment of silence for Joe Hayden.
Boy, jeez, so sad.
Guys, I want to talk really quickly about something that just shook Steelers Twitter to its core today. Rooney II announced that he's going to make an announcement. Imagine announcing that you're going to make an announcement. First of all, let's talk about that.
What a power move.
That's
my
what
God.
I'm saying. Like, oh my God. Someday I want to be able to be like, hey, look out for a big announcement tomorrow. And everyone just loses their shit. Let's speculate a little bit. Everyone's been speculating on what it could possibly be. I've heard everything from like retiring Ben's jersey to retiring Franco's jersey because it's the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard retiring and so many jerseys. I've heard Dan Rooney statue. I've heard, everything under the freaking sun, jersey changes and all that shit. I don't think that he's going to make an announcement about jersey changes, to be honest with you. But what do you guys think it's going to be?
I'm trying to blank, but I'm scared. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm just
well, it's like that it's like when you get called to like your manager's office and it's like, oh shit, like why can't you just tell me what you want? Like
exactly.
Somebody you love is like, call me. Like
a hint.
Why you call me?
Right.
Like
yes.
What? Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. I don't think it's going to be anything bad. It's like my guess would be not like updated amenities in the stadium, but I think it may maybe like a statue or something outside the stadium because people were so up in arms about the name change. I think that going into this season, they're probably trying to drum up some level of excitement to get people on board for this not new stadium that they're playing in that is the same but has a different name. Like I think that they're it just something like that, like something significant, maybe a Dan Rooney statue, maybe they will do some kind of Immaculate Reception Franco Harris statue. Like I don't know, but I would love for them to announce that they're bringing back the block numbers. Like that would be great, but not going to happen.
I just feel like it's going to be something like some hardware. Like they're installing a statue or it's something commemorative. Maybe it's for Dwayne Haskins.
That could be.
I have no idea what it's going to be. I don't it's like when my boss sent me an email or put time on my calendar and won't tell me what it's about. Right. This is exactly what happened when I got laid off from my job a couple months ago. So thanks, Art. Appreciate you.
I have to tell you something, but I can't tell you right now. Well, no. That's not how this works for me and my anxiety. I need to know now. And then you can tell
my anxiety is set up.
Yeah.
I can't. So I want to talk about one more thing before we wrap this episode up, and it is about the rookies. I loved this draft. I feel like the Steelers went out and got met so many needs, maybe not the offensive line needs that we thought we needed or that we know we needed, but they filled other holes on this roster in such a huge way. I love the Connor Hayward pick, number 1, and I think that throughout preseason and training camp, he has really shown up and proven that he wasn't just selected because he's Cam Hayward's brother. But I want to know, out of all of our rookies, drafted or undrafted, who are you the most excited about this year, and like what's the expectation, if any? Jordan, I want to start with you.
Honestly, I'm most excited to see Calvin Austin play because there's a lot of hype around George Pickens. People are already potentially naming him Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like they're crowning him this jewel of the Steelers offense, which I wouldn't be surprised if that happens because that dude's just a beast. But to be a wide receiver drafted in the same class as George Pickens, and there's so much hype around him, I would anticipate with Calvin Austin's speed and his route running and his hands. Like I can't even begin to imagine what's going on in his head, but I would kind of hope that maybe that puts a fire under him to be like, well, I want to make a name for myself too. I want to cement my place on this offense. I don't want it to all be about George Pickens. I want to be an asset. I want to contribute. And I think especially with his speed, because that dude is so fast, freaking fast. Like
insane.
I'm gonna be watching him, and I'm most excited to watch him because he's not necessarily an underdog, but he's more so on the fringes.
Yeah, exactly.
And we overshadowed.
We didn't see a lot of him in training camp because of that injury. We didn't see a lot of him in preseason. So I'm right there with you. I'm so excited about him.
Yeah.
He has a different skill set than George Pickens. They're not the same type of receiver. And so I think that there's an opportunity there for him to really shine, especially if we don't see a comeback from Chase Claypool or if Deontay falls back into some of his old issues, which I don't expect either of those things to happen, to be honest with you. But in case they do, there's a real opportunity for Calvin Austin to step up and do something special and really showcase who he is as that potential wide receiver 3 or even better. Who knows? Mine's George Pickens. That's not a surprise. I freaking love the dude. Everything about him is a vibe. Everything. Yeah. He is an absolute dog. Vibe. He's a savage. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I want him to be wide receiver 1. No offense, Deontay, but come on.
He has it. Like, not that Deontay doesn't, but it's just like it's like when you watch Kenny and Mitch. Like, Mitch is a really good quarterback, but Kenny has it seems like, and there's just that factor that some guys have and some guys don't, and that doesn't make one a bad football player, but some guys are just elite.
Makes the other a better football player. Yeah. Sam, what about you?
You're reading the reports like George Pickens, dropped a ball in training camp, and then after that he's just catching every single thing and just talking shit to the defense and being like, you see that? Don't say shit. It's like you are a rookie. You are a rookie on this team, but that's the difference, and he has that mentality. It's like, you don't have to tell him that he dropped it. He knows, and he's going to make up for it. I do anticipate him knocking Chase Claypool out of that wide receiver 2 spot this year. Based off of what we've seen the last few years from Claypool. I'm also curious to see how DeMarvin Leal performs because with, Tyson's injury, he's coming back this year, but Stephon Tuitt retiring and all that happening. It's not a bad idea.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah. Connor Hayward, I think I honestly feel like he's going to come into it kind of like with a chip on his shoulder, mainly because of Cameron Hayward. Like, you're playing on the same team with your older brother. They're going to be like, oh, that's the only reason you got drafted to this team. So he's probably coming in. I mean, I saw comments like that when he did get drafted. It's only because it's Cam's brother. There's no way he's going to fit into this scheme. So I think he's going to come into it.
And so many people hated on that pick, and we're like, you haven't even seen him play a down of football. You have not watched this team play. So to write him off as solely like a nepotism pick is asinine to me. It makes absolutely no sense. And I love the fact that he came into training camp and into the preseason and has made a name for himself and has really established, the idea that he's here because he's good, not just because he's Cam's brother. The fact that he is just makes it that much better. And it allows us to immediately emotionally attach to him. He's a Hayward, so we love him. But that's all that is. And he is his own person, and he's his own player. And I'm so excited to see what he does. I feel like that's captain material in a few years, just because he does have that Hayward blood in him. So we'll see. But I'm so excited about Sunday. Football's freaking back, y'all.
It is back.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm so excited. Football's back. Yinzhers is back. It's going to be an amazing season. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. Don't listen to Jordan. People on Twitter will tell you she has no idea what she's talking about.
And they're right.
They're right about all of us. But I want to wrap this first episode up of season 2. Guys, I mean this when I say it. We cannot thank you all enough for the continued support. Whether you love us or you hate us, we have nothing but like huge, massive, big love for all of you. So just thank you for riding with us for 1.5 years. I cannot believe it's been that long. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Yinzhers, and do not forget to subscribe, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We can kick it with you every single week. We will be back for another episode next Tuesday after week 1 of the 2022 NFL season. Hell yeah. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye, guys.